Spurgeon here with RevZilla, and today we are taking a look at the Klim Klimate Bib available at RevZilla.com. So keep in mind, when you are looking through Klim's lineup for snow apparel, there's two different routes you can take. You can go with a non-insulated version, which is going to be for you riders out there that are a little bit more active with your sled. You're probably going to be out there on the West Coast where the snow has a little bit more powder feel to it. Here on the East Coast, where you might be using your sled more for transportation, you want some extra layers of insulation here, and that's where the Klimate comes into play. The Klimate Bib is going to work nicely to get some localized insulation, and we're going to talk about all the different changes that we're seeing over the old version throughout the course of this video. But first, let's hit on sizing. So George, on my left-hand side, he stands at 6'3", weighs in at 215 pounds, measures his belly button waist at 39 inches, and his hips at 46. So George is going to be right in between the large and the extra large when you're using the size chart and those two specific measurements. We have him in a large, and you're going to see this fits him spot on. Now, in some of the other pieces that we've shot, we've sized George up to the extra large because it's a little more of an active use. Keep in mind, with the Klimate, it's a little more of a static use in its nature, and the size large fits him spot on. Now, sizes are going to range from small up to 5XL. Black is the only color available, and there are short and tall options available for you. Short options between the sizes of medium and 3XL, and then you have tall options between the sizes of medium and 2XL. So you get one extra size for the short version. Now, George does stand at 6'3", and we have him in the regular length. So you can see these are none too short as is. So if you're looking for the tall option, really it's going to be 36-inch seam or greater. And then if you're looking for the short option, that's when you're really getting below maybe like a 32-inch inseam. But those options are there for you to choose from if you need that available to you. Klim is going to be known to us in the world of dual sport, off-road motorcycling, on-road motorcycling, as well as snow apparel. Their gear is second to none as far as quality is concerned, and they are very familiar with how to incorporate Gore-Tex into their pieces. And that's what you're seeing with the Klimate Bib. This is going to use a new SPL 200 performance shell from Gore-Tex, much more flexible than some of the other versions that we've seen in the past. And we're going to lose the ballistic nylon overlays that were on the old version. We're going to lose the contrast stitching. We're going to lose all the ballistic on the inside that was gray, which contrasted against the black. So there's a lot going on here that we're going to break down. Now, if you want to bump up from the Klimate, you'd be looking at the Keweenaw in Klim's lineup. The Klimate comes in around the $350 price point. If you want to bump up, the Keweenaw is going to give you more insulation, some different options as far as breathability and venting are concerned. But really, what you're getting with the Klimate is a piece that will match up perfectly with the Klimate Parka. And a lot of this has to play with that material, as well as the localized Thinsulate that we've talked about. So we've already talked about the fact that they've gone to an SPL 200 for Gore-Tex. Remember, Gore-Tex isn't just about keeping water out, it's about allowing the moisture building up inside to evaporate. And that's really what you're getting with this. The other thing that we're going to note is that they've changed the way the insulation comes into play. So it's still going to be Thinsulate insulation, but instead of using static 200 grams of insulation throughout the entire bib, they're now going to localize it. So you have 200 grams of insulation at your base, and then your high blast areas where you're taking more airflow on, they're going to bump it up to 300 gram insulation. So they've really done a nice job of mapping out where you need that extra layer of insulation, and that's going to be the second upgrade that we've seen over the old Klimate. So first was the change in the overall Gore-Tex shell, and second is going to be that Thinsulate insulation, which is now more localized. Starting from the top and working our way through, there is going to be one pocket located on the left side of your chest in that bib, full zip entry for this. And as we work our way down, you'll notice that contrast stitching is all gone. So when we say black, it is now a black pant throughout. Minimalized branding, little Klim logo over on the right side, and then you are getting some pops for reflectivity working its way down just below the knee. The other change that we're talking about, they've gotten rid of the ballistic nylon, but what they've added is they've added pockets in here if you want to add knee protection. So if you want to go ahead and upgrade to D30 knee armor, there's now internal pockets that'll allow you to do so. George, I'm going to have you go ahead and face sideways for me. For the entry point for this, we're not seeing much change. Dual entry YKK zip for a little bit of ventilation. You can start at the top, you can work your way down, and you'll notice George is sporting a pair of his shorty shorts today. He is all ready for the fact that it's 90 degrees outside here in Philadelphia, despite the fact that we are shooting a snow video in preparation for the oncoming onslaught of winter. Labor Day weekend's coming up, and you know what that means. Winter's not too far away. Taking a look at the inside of this, the snow skirt is carried over from the previous version. So one of the things that I really like about this is it mimics the snow skirt that we're seeing on the parkas. As we open this up, Velcro to get this on, but really nice rubberized silicone base holds this into place, so you don't have to worry about it riding up on you once you have it secure, and it works very nicely just to keep any snow or air from pushing up from your boot into the pants, causing you cold, causing you discomfort, or just allowing moisture or water to sneak through. Closing that up, George, I'm going to go ahead and face backwards for me. So starting with the top, you're going to notice the suspender design is going to work its way down to that bib. And then the other thing you'll notice is along the sides, there's elasticated panels, which is more of a stretched lycra than anything else. But it adds to the overall comfort of the bib when you are in a seated position. If you are moving around, just that flexibility comes into play there for an extra comfort piece. And as you take a look throughout the back, simple lines, minimal branding, all the contrast stitching is gone, and you do have a little bit of the pop reflectivity remaining just around the back of the knee. George, you may face forward. So for riders out there that are looking for something that's going to get them away from just a non-insulated bib into something that does have insulation, but the insulation is a little bit more thought out, it's a little bit more localized, and that new SPL 200 Gore-Tex material, much more comfortable, lighter weight, and it just allows you a greater range of motion on the sled. Like I said, the Klimate Bib will match perfectly with the Klimate Parka, but there are a lot of different options out there from Klim, and if you want to hear more about what other riders are using, click the info button on your desktop or mobile device, and that's going to allow you to read other rider reviews from folks that are already out there putting the Klimate gear through its paces. Now, if you have more questions for one of our gear geeks, as to which piece of Klim apparel is right for you, give them a shout. They're happy to talk to you at 877-792-9455 or shoot them an email, cs@revzilla.com. Thank you for joining us for this look at the Klim Klimate Bib. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.